Hi, my name is Gerald Panneton. I'm the chairman and CEO of Terra Resource Corporation. We are actively exploring for gold in Yellowknife, which means like right in town almost, or outside of town, if you want to call it, but with all the service that a town of 20,000 people can provide you. This is an Archean gold exploration target, and we're delighted to be able to talk to you. We just completed almost like 15,000 meters of drilling over the last 4 months during the winter. We're expecting a lot of result to come out from this drill program. And we've already have 1.2 million ounces. And after the purchase option on the Con mine, which produced 6 million ounces over the years in Yellowknife, Canada, we are looking into extending the deposit to the south and at depth.
Gerard, thank you. That's a sweet, short and succinct and very clear introduction. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. It's our first time talking. I know you've spoken to Matt a few times, but this is the first time that I've got the pleasure to speak to you. So welcome.
It's a pleasure, Marin.
I'm relatively new to Goldstone. To Gold Terra. I'm relatively new to the Northwestern Territories. I've never been to Yellowknife. Could you just bring me up a map and just kind of help me orientate myself and just refresh me of where the key points are?
We're going to share the screen, and basically with the screen, I'll bring you up to date with the presentation. And with all due respect, and of course, it reduces a little bit of our attention and face. I hope you're able to see now the presentation.
Yep, got it.
Yeah, and briefly, our property. This is just a snapshot of the company, what we're doing, the people that are involved, and a little bit of our experience. What do we bring to the table to make the investor knows, like, are you just coming out of nowhere, or have you done it before? So basically, I'm a geologist, but so if you want to read a bit about me, there is that slide on page 4 on our website that tells you a little bit of some of the little achievement I've done through my career of nearly 40 years now.
Fantastic stuff. I'm chapeau. But if you could just, we can talk about that a bit later, but let's go to the map if you could.
Yes. Well, basically in the inside, you see roughly the map here, which is basically the Yellowknife Project, which is located in the middle of the Northwest Territory, Northern Canada. It's got a road all the way from Edmonton, Alberta, all the way to Yellowknife. It's about 18-hour drive. And you have an insert of the picture that shows the city of Yellowknife in the background, which is about 20,000 people, I think 7 hotels. Servicing the diamond mines of the Northwest Territory is the principal occupation. Both mines that used to be in town, the Giant and the Con mine, have been shut down since the last 20 years. Okay. So in reality, its location is good. Lots of good service, lots of power, people, services. Everything is there to service any future development. Yep. Everybody goes home at night, basically. That's
it's good. It saves on tiring people out, and also it means you don't have to kind of run a camp in difficult conditions.
Well, I think it's more than that. It's more than that, Merlin, because I built Detour Gold, so I can tell you, for example, that when you're remote and you have a camp, you need to hire like 3 to 4 times more people for rotation purpose. Yeah. You have night shift, day shift, but you also have rotation shift. Yeah. So instead of having only 2 shifts like a normal mine in town, you end up with 4.5 to 5 shifts.
Yeah.
So you have 4 or 5 times more people.
I do want to get to the map. Can you keep going into the?
Oh yeah. Well, this is a map that basically.
Okay, there we go.
Show the geology. So basically, the Yellowknife Gold Belt, where 14 million ounces of gold had been produced, is shown here. The location of Yellowknife, of course, in relation in the province of Canada. And of course, the property size that we have, 800 square kilometers, straggling roughly 70 kilometers along the Campbell Shear. In Archean geology, because maybe you're not familiar with Archean deposit and Archean geology in Canada, like other Archean cratons around the world, this is typical Archean geology, gold shear zone, usually in contact between volcanics and sediments, and basically generating a lot of gold, a lot of smoke also outside of the main shear zone. But the main shear zone, you have to realize, Con and Giant is the same deposit split by a fault. So you're looking at one deposit which produced 14 million ounces, more importantly, of grade between 15 to 22 gram gold. So more than half an ounce per ton. So very, very valuable in today's gold price.
Just looking at that map on the right-hand side. So the 1.2 million ounces that you've got in your resource, in your inferred resource, is that section inside the dotted oval there in the middle on the right.
That is correct. This is the work that had been done over the years by the predecessor management company, of which Joe Campbell is still with us. And basically the drilling done over the north of town was where their focus was. So of that focus over the years, they got 1.2 million ounces in 4 small deposits. Some of them are open, like Miss Pickle is still open, and we were drilling it last winter. Crestoram is not shut down, but we have a nice 300,000 ounces between surface and 200 meters at 5 gram open pit. So it's a very good resource in our back pocket that could yield some very nice additional mill feed for a future mine. The biggest thing we've worked on over the years is to acquire the 2021 in November, complete the deal that took me 2 years to sign the option to purchase the Con mine. And I think this is the main topic of where your technical expertise will appreciate what we're trying to do here. I mean, this is a story basically because you have a mine that is the Campbell mine, the Con mine, and the Giant mine, split by a fault that generated 14 million ounces of gold. Dipping to the west, you have a section here, 8B, that shows the mine, the Campbell shear or the Con mine, and the Con shear as well, which is a second shear that produced 1 million ounces at 20 gram. The potential along the Campbell shear, this is your plumbing system. This is the major contributor for gold mineralization in Yellowknife.
Can I just ask, you say that the Giant mine and the Con mine are separated by a fault. And I can see the Campbell mine, the Campbell shear there, which mined 5 million ounces in the middle, has got the northern extent, the northern end of it is bounded by a fault. By a fault. Is that the fault that separates?
Yes. So on the next section, we're looking at a long section that shows the Con mine deposit on the Campbell shear. And you can see the fault that you're talking about that cuts off the deposit in a north-south fashion is the West Bay fault. And the Giant mine was displaced 7 kilometers north. And the top part of this long section, which is looking west from south to north on your left to right, is basically the Campbell, the Giant mine. And the Giant mine was 8 million ounces at 22 grams. Very rich. The crest, we call it like the crest or the hinge of a fold. And what you have in the Campbell, in the Con mine, is the same thing, something that is very similar and has also generated 5 million ounces. But the good thing about the Con mine is that the Giant mine was refractory and the Con mine was transitioned from refractory to free milling. So all the bottom part of the Con mine was free milling.
When you say kind of an Archean gold system, so you're talking sheared quartz veins on the contact, kind of structurally hosted, quite complex geometries with plunging chutes.
Structural deposit in general have, it's like folding, okay? When you look at fold and fold system, they are not asymmetric. They could be symmetric. And the mineralization goes into what we call empty spots, voids, created by the folding. So that's where the quartz veins ends up. That's where the mineralization ends up because there's room for them to go there.
In the dilational zones.
There's a symmetric interpretation to structural geology along a shear zone that allows you to predict where you're going to hit the zone and not. Because the Campbell shear is 70 kilometers long. And over a span of less than 5 kilometers, you have 14 million ounces. So where's the next one?
What was the nature of the refractory mineralization at Giant?
arsenic, sulfides, arsenopyrite.
Okay.
Up to about 50%. Well, when we are at the Con Mine, you see a reduction of arsenopyrite down to about 3 to 5%. And at the bottom of the mine, you're basically into free milling area.
So the gold must be multi-phase, because if you've got some gold which is in pyrite or when you say free milling, presumably associated with other sulfides. It's not.
No, it's visible gold. Yeah, you have a lot of free gold, basically.
Okay.
Sulfides deposit. When we talk about the presence of sulfide, they're there for a reason, because most of the gold fluids will have a content in sulfur. They need to be acid. They need to have a certain temperature, a certain composition. So when you have a deposit like the Giant and the Con Mine, from my interpretation, is that you will have not just one generation of mineralization. And what you have at the Giant mine, which is mined out, the 8 million ounces, you were in the crest of the fold, where about 50% of sulfide crest out there. While the feeders, as you go down from that fold system that could be repeated, consists a lot more of quartz veining and more pure fluids with sulfide and sometimes without sulfide.
Do you see that the feeder system, because the fluids are passing through it and they're kind of trapped in the crest, in the fold,
in the hinge,
in the hinge, do you see higher grades in that enriched zone than you do in the feeder system?
You could see that the Giant mine was 22 grams. So it's very rich. And it was the hinge crest of the fold where most of the sulfide just got trapped. And that's my interpretation. I didn't do a PhD on this. I'm trying to keep it very simple. A lot of people have done some PhD thesis on the Campbell Shear, the Con Mine and Giant. And there are different generations. The most recent one was done by a gentleman, I forgot his name, but was done in the 80s and early 90s, and has come up with different vein system, different mineralization system, some of them richer than others. But he was focusing on the Con Mine. So when you look at the Giant mine, you're looking at a very 50% sulfide refractory ore, while as you go on the limbs, other hinge inner system to the folding system, you see less sulfide, and there's a trend. When you reach 1,000 meters at the Con Mine, below 1,000 meters, it's all free milling, even with the sulfide. So definitely, as you move fluids along a shear zone and a trap zone, you will have different genetic and different recovery style. And you have to realize that this Campbell Shear on the Con Mine was averaging between 88 to 96% recovery. When they were just doing the free milling, they reached 96% recovery.
Last year, you drilled about 13,000 meters, but you signed the Con Mine late in the year.
We had an option with them already. So it was it was an amendment to the initial exploration agreement. The first agreement we signed with Newmont was in September 2020.
Okay,
and it was to earn 60%. And I went back to the table after our winter program saying, listen, that doesn't satisfy my need of exploration and my appetite for exploration on the Con Mine. I'd like to renegotiate the deal, and I'd like to present you an option to purchase 100%. And if I find enough ounces, I'll be willing to take the liability of the mine, which is in a closure state.
Yep.
But the mine has some amazing valuable asset infrastructures at site that could be reused in the future. So the idea behind the option to purchase is that I have 4 years to find enough ounces and be comfortable with the liability I could take that could be offset by the number of ounces I find on the property. And that threshold is 1.5 to 2 million ounces. And that's how the new deal with Newmont was structured.
When you say 1.5 to 2 million ounces, that's an internal calculation, or is that something you've agreed with?
No, it's both. It's an internal. What would it take to go back successfully and put the mine in production? What will be the minimum grade at $1,800 an ounce? To go back on the Con Mine to. And we calculated 1 million ounces of reserve, roughly. So when you call reserve, that means you've gone through a lot. So 2 million ounces of resource that would become 1 million or more in reserve is the threshold to allow our company to be comfortable to take a liability that is $5 to $8 million Canadian. It's not a big liability, but it's still a liability.
Yeah.
The benefit of this purchase option agreement with Newmont is that I get 100% of what was left at the mine site, which is 750,000 ounces at 11 gram gold. I inherit of a shaft. Go ahead.
So you inherit a shaft.
You inherit of a shaft that goes down to 1,950 meters below surface that today will cost $70 million US to build and 2 years to do. The only thing I need to do is dewater it and reinstall the head frames, and cables and cage and stuff like that. But the benefit of this property, if I want to go back and mine on the Con mine, is tremendous. There's savings of more than $100 million US. And
that resource of 750,000 ounces, it's 20 years old, so it's there. You've got the data, but it's not a current resource.
No, because it's an historical resource, right?
Yeah.
But it was in the reserve book of Miramar at the end of 2002. So there was a public statement on that reserve.
Okay.
So it's a lot stronger than just historical, except in regulation for 42-101, you will need to prove it up again. But in my mind, it's all about knowing where it's there. And the fact that there's potential below and down to the south makes this project very attractive. So if I find 2 million ounces in resource outside of that 750,000 ounces, the 750,000 ounces becomes a bonus.
Yeah. And you're planning to put in 40,000 meters or more of drilling this year.
Yes.
And you put in 13,000 meters already. Are you focusing on the down plunge extensions and the kind of along strike extensions of the Con?
Can we show you a map on this? Can we?
Yes. Let's go back to sharing.
So when we share the screen again, and then we look at the long section, we call it the long section because it's vertical in the plane of the shear zone.
Yep.
And the compilation of all this information is shown kind of like in a slice of a 3D model. So you're looking west, north is on the right, south is on the left, and basically you're looking from surface all the way to 2,000 meters. And the expression of the Campbell shear on the Con mine is showing you that everything that is yellow, not the green is below cutoff grade. So everything that is yellow to pink is your high-grade mineralization. So that's our grade mineralization, continue to the south and at depth. And that's our focus.
And that has been mined already?
This has been mined. This is where they mined 5 million ounces at an average grade of 15 to 16 gram gold.
So where I can see the drives and the levels in the Con mine, all of that has been developed and mined. So where's the 750,000 ounces? Is that in pillars and kind of stopes that haven't been developed? And
actually, there's broken ore on the ground that could just be picked up.
Okay.
That I've been talking to a lot of old timers from the days of the mine before it shut down. And when they shut it down, they basically just shut it down overnight. Basically.
And walked away.
And walked away to focus on their old Babel project. And so it was shut down, not in a very practical way. And there's a lot of ounces that we know exactly where the stopes are. We know exactly where to go. So of that 750,000 ounces, maybe there's 500,000 ounces that is easily recoverable. And there's also all the potential below the mine and towards the south that has not been tested properly. So we feel with the Yellorex zone that we've been drilling the past 2 winters, and where you see the stars, this is where we're drilling now. We just finished the hole right beside 14 grams over 5 meters, and we intersected the Campbell shear, very similar fashion that we expect gold grade similar. So we know we're going to add ounces on this project. It's just a question of time by doing the drilling. Some people, they're looking for a target on their property. we have our target very well defined.
Yeah.
It's a shear zone. It's the Campbell shear. And we have the con shear at the back as well. And we know very well that we can build ounces on that Campbell shear and build these ounces of high-grade material. Our target is more than 10 gram. And 10 gram in today's world is worth $600 US per ton. There are very, very, very few high-grade gold deposits being explored in the world. And this is a very good one that has excellent depth extension.
I can see you've got those the red stars between hole Y88 and the black star. So presumably those have been drilled along.
No, they are being drilled. They are being drilled now as we speak.
From surface or from underground? From
surface. We don't have any access from underground. We're going to go back underground when we have enough ounces to sustain a dewatering program.
Okay.
But for now, the goal is to get to 2 million ounces outside of the mine, south of the podfall. And we feel that with the Yellorex resource, that we plan to have a resource by the end of the year, plus the area of Y88, we should get maybe close to a good number.
When I look at the ore distribution in the Con mine, it almost looks as if there are kind of two plunging directions. You've kind of got a conjugate set of high-grade zones. There's a very clear fabric.
Yeah.
Plunging to the south.
Like a conjugate system. When you fold something, you always create tensions, and you always release the tension by opening up a conjugate system. It's called the tightening. When you tighten and deform something and you compress it, you always open up in a conjugate system.
There has to be
that conjugate system might not be perfectly like this, because subsequent deformation, subsequent movement could make those conjugate system different. And that's usually where the gold and the high grade goes.
Is it nuggety? I mean, you're talking about free gold, or are you having to do a kind of a top cut? Is it kind of fitting into?
We don't. We sample on 1 meters and sometimes 50 centimeters. And usually we get our top grade assays are in the range of 20 to 50 grams.
So we don't have carried on.
We don't have outliers basically that need to be.
And essentially, so the plan for this year, how much of your 40,000 meters for this year is going between the Cam fault and the Pud fault?
On that long section, you're talking about 30 to 40,000 meters of drilling in 2022, subject to financing.
Okay.
Because we did our first batch of financing this winter. We had also an investment from Newmont, and with that money, we basically are in a good 20,000 meters of drilling plan, and subsequently we should be able to raise additional money and then complete the program by the end of the year.
You've mentioned the Campbell shear zone stretching for 70 kilometers or so.
Yes.
Do you mind? Sorry, I'm really sorry to do this to you, but could you kind of stop sharing again? I know it's frustrating for you today.
I can go to the map first briefly.
Okay.
Briefly, we can go to this map. So you can see on the purple slide, the purple box is the Con mine option purchase agreement.
Yeah.
So, and then just north of it, there's the giant mine, which is split by 7 kilometers. So the Campbell shear further north goes very close to area like between, say, Mispecol, Samoto, and Barney and Cresteron. So it will go right in between those two and carry on all the way further north. So and this is more underexplored program, which needs to be, explore more, but it's not, we're not there yet.
Okay. So you're not going to invest a lot of drill meters into that. You've got to do ground exploration first.
No, we have a lot of the ground exploration done fast. We did also two holes north of the giant mines to test the Campbell shear hypothesis or model, and we did intersect the Campbell shear exactly where we thought it would be. We had a bit of visible gold in one of the sample, and we think we're on the right track. But it's like, sometimes we call a target mature and a target premature.
Yeah.
And so the Campbell Shear target at the Con mine is mature.
Yep. You've got a lot of data points.
And it's very close to 6 million ounces. And we just need to drill it off and find a couple more. When you explore north of town, it's more explorationist. It's more an immature target. We know where it is, but it's like to drill it is a big program. And maybe next winter we'll have that. This winter we tested the Mispecol target because it's a high-grade target. Remember, my philosophy about this Gold Terra company and our project in Yellowknife is all about high-grade mineralization. Less capital, better benefit and profitability, less volume, less investment, less footprint on the environment.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm completely with you. I love a bit of a high grade. All of this kind of Archean 0.8, 1 gram of gold, big scale, huge capex, huge throughput is so dangerous in my view.
It's simple, Merlin. It's very simple. You're talking about a small margin and a big volume of rock.
Yeah.
Okay, so the little margin give you less room to maneuver, and the big volume, more risk.
Yeah.
So you reverse high grade, better margin, and small volume. You diminish your risk, and you increase your margin for error.
I'm with you all the way. way.
And I can tell you, for example, I'm going to give you an example. I mean, I love Detour. Okay, I built Detour. I'm the founder, and I went A to Z on Detour.
Yeah.
And from IPO to gold production and the bars. And I did not just raise $2.6 billion. I did all the planning, the strategy, the exploration, and putting the team together. I did more than just raising money.
Yep.
And so I am the strategist behind this Detour story more than anybody else.
You built a company.
But the Achilles of low-grade deposit is in the sustained capital. It's also into the volume of rock that you're moving. You basically become a good client for Caterpillar. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're buying so much equipment. But the biggest thing people don't realize is that every time you produce 21 million ton of ore through a mill every year, your tailing needs 30 million ton more capacity because it's swell with the water. And that cost could translate itself like a Detour to $100 an ounce per year in sustained capital or more. You're moving too much for so little.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is not good. Some investor told me, he said, yes, but these project moves the needle. But I can tell you, I lost my job in 2013 because of gold price dropping from 17 to 1,000. And I was a scapegoat after building everything. So I know exactly that a low-grade deposit could be great when gold price is up, but gold price always comes back down. And when it comes back down, you suffer. You're the first one out of the door.
And some investors like to invest in a low margin gold project because when the gold price rises, you get this kind of leveraged effect on the earnings.
It's unbelievable. Listen, I took Detour from 100 million to 4 billion in 5 years.
Yeah.
From $350 a share to $40 a share in September 2011, when gold price was $1,900 an ounce. We went in production, gold was 1,700. But 3 months later, gold was 1,000, and every shareholder sold their share.
Yeah.
The stock went from $20 to $10 in no time. A high-grade deposit will allow you to survive tougher time.
What you're seeing at the moment in Yellorex and down in Y88, what's the kind of the what are you seeing in terms of your gram meter? What are you? Don't give me your best hole, but what are you seeing at the moment? Is it 5 meters or 5 grams?
Our target is always like, it will never be a big mine. Okay, the largest production profile Miramar had was 1,400 ton per day with the mill. I prefer to, the geometry of a deposit in Archean geology is very important. It's all about ton per vertical meters and your capacity to mine it and bring it to surface. So you have to live with what the mine can deliver in the most economic way, in the most profitable way, without trying to take more than the mine can deliver. And so for me, 10 grams over 10 meters is perfect, right? Or 10 gram over 6 meters is perfect. So the GT, any GT that is above 50 to 100 is good.
50 to 100,
So
you're in the
10
sweet
grams,
spot.
5 meters is great. The cutoff grade could be as low as 6 over 3 or 5 over 3. As long as the mine, it's mechanized mining today. So it's 3 meters. You're not going to escape that.
It's really refreshing to hear that, because I speak to some people who are talking about high grade, but on kind of 1 meter, and I say, but it's never going to be mined. I mean, you can just about get away with kind of 2.2 meters, but
we used to have a mine that we shut down in the 90s at Barrick called Golden Patricia in Northern Ontario. The vein was 20 centimeters wide, okay? 20 to 30, not more than a foot. We were mining 4 feet.
Yeah.
With traditional old school mining, there's no such thing anymore.
Yeah. Well, unless you go to South Africa for.
Well, I've been to South Deep, so I know exactly what they do there.
Yeah. You don't want to be doing that.
Well, no, it's room and pillar. It's actually pretty amazing. But it's flat mining, right? Because the width is flatter. So it's very shallow angle. But shallow angles are like the flat vein at Sigma Mine. Sigma Mine was probably one of the best examples of underground mining, because you had everything. You had room and pillar, you had shrinkage, you had cut and fill. It's always good. But in a future mine, what you're looking at is most of the time, the most economic mines are long hole, subvertical, which exactly what we have. 70-degree dip, great gravity, everything falls down.
For the viewers, for the investors, they're looking really at the flow of the drill meters coming out. You've got 13,000 meters behind you. You've got 20,000 meters coming, maybe 20,000 behind that. It's just watching that pin cushion get kind of filled out. The 50 meter.
That's correct.
What's your rough spacing? You're going, it's 50 meters, but I thought it was
50 meters, but at depth it's 200 meters spacing.
So 50 meters across and 200 meters.
Well, the Yellorex, our drilling at 50 meters is complete. We still have some result to come out.
Yeah.
The next step will be to go underground on Yellowrex. But we will calculate a resource. We'll have some metallurgical test work done. And then we should be able to release this information by the fall. And the next step at Yellowrex will be to go underground. But what we're trying to do now is to add ounces in other places along the Campbell Shear, south of the Con Mine, in the down of the deposit, to come up to our 1.52 million ounces resource we're looking for. And we want to achieve that sometime before the end of 2023.
Is Yellowknife drilled out? Have you kind of got the envelope there, or is it still open?
I can even show you, but soon I'm going to have to go to another meeting.
No, all good. That's all good. No, it's all good.
But just briefly, I can show you the Yellowrex. And this is a snapshot of the Yellowrex. So it's already, our drilling is done on 50 meters spacing. We have a core, which is roughly almost 200 meters. What you have to look is that what we're going to be mining is the yellow.
Yeah.
Right. So the yellow and the core of it, which is richer, is what we're going to be mining at Yellowrex. So you're looking at some number of ounces between surface, okay, and which is, we did 3 holes that cut it off, but that doesn't mean the lens cannot reappear right below, as you know.
Yeah.
But this lens is relatively compacted. I'm not going to give you a guess estimate, but anybody, 200 meters by 400 meters strike length, number of ton per vertical, number of ounces per vertical meters, and you can come up with a number roughly.
Yeah.
And that number will come out sometime this fall. And but I cannot say it publicly what I think it could be.
No, that's
definitely
fine.
It's not nothing, right?
Yeah.
And the target is 10 gram plus. So.
And then so you're looking for more Yellorexes, more pods like that you're going to drill out this year.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. Good luck with the exploration this year. I'll be looking forward to the news releases as you put them out. And I look forward to seeing the resource statement when it comes out. It'll be fascinating.
Thank you very much, Merlin. It was a pleasure. And if there's any follow-up technical question, I am always available to answer any question that comes from investors. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye now.